I mean, look, we're not a socialist country in the way that that the Soviet Union was. And we're not at all, we're very, 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 very different from the Soviet Union in the sense that we were a country that was built on a tradition of freedom and was a very free market, probably the most free market country that's ever existed for a long period of time, like a long period of time. So we were built on that, and that built up a level of wealth that the Soviets had never seen. So it's a whole different thing. But we've evolved to be in this place now. And where we are now, I mean, if you actually look at it. So here, do me a favor with this, Rob. Will you just pull up Google 10 planks of communism? Okay? And let's go through these real quick, just to kind of get a gauge of how close to communism we are in America. Okay? So do we have, you got the list up?
Communist Manifesto.
This is from the Communist Manifesto. There's 10, I believe, right? 10 planks? Isn't that it?
You know it.
All right. So plank number 1, what do we got?
All right. Abolition of private property and land and application of all rents of land to public purpose.
Okay. So we do not have the certainly the abolition, right? But you could say, I mean, look, we have property taxes. We certainly have, a lot of different laws that you could say in one way or the other violate the sovereignty of your property. But I wouldn't say abolition of private property we have. So probably somewhere on number 1, from a libertarian point of view, like a pure libertarian point of view, number 1 is a mixed bag, right? We have private property, but it's not truly protected from the state in the way that we'd like. Because just to make clear what I'm saying, I'm not forcing this in here. For what you or me consider ownership, what the state does is they take an active ownership over that land. To say I'm taking 10% of the profits, well, that's something that only an owner can do.
Right.
Right? So to some degree, the state is acting as an owner.
Yeah, you're essentially renting your property from the state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 1, maybe not full-fledged, but pretty goddamn close. Number 2.
A heavy progressive or graduated income tax.
Got it.
Yeah.
Boy, do we got it. Number 2 is like a home run out of the fucking park. Like you could have closed your eyes and just heard the crack on that bat, and you were like, it's gone. And it's gone by a mile. A heavy progressive income tax. You're goddamn right we do.
Abolition of all rights of inheritance. So we're at exactly 50% on that, about
Yep.
50%.
Right at 50%. Okay. So we're so far, by the way, mostly a communist country. Let's go next.
Confiscation of the property of all immigrants and rebels.
Well, I mean...
Rebels, you could say, is a criminal.
I mean, sure, yeah. I mean, you have, look, rebels. I mean, yes, you have people who, Edward Snowden. You could say someone smoking a plant the government says they don't want them to smoke is a rebel. You could certainly say, I mean, we have these huge, I mean, dude, we have, the Department of Education has a SWAT team. Not to mention the EPA has a SWAT team. Not to mention the regular SWAT raids that are committed by the DEA and the FBI and ICE and all these other organizations. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and say that one's another home run.
Here comes another home run.
What do we got?
Are your spirits ready for this? Centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly.
I mean, that's... Was that an aluminum bat he hit that one with? Because I didn't even think this guy was on Mark McGuire steroids with an aluminum bat for that one. A central bank. All right, so we're like doing pretty bad in the term of in the freedom to communist. James, what are we up to? What number?
Number 6.
Number 6.
Centralization of the means of communication and transportation in the hands of the state.
Well, we got an FCC, which all my left-wing friends seem to be advocating take over the government. The government has run the post office for a very long time. The government runs the schools. That probably guess is a separate topic. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of communication, every major TV station is licensed out by the federal government, right? Every network was for years and years. Most cable networks follow FCC standards, although I guess they're not technically under them. The internet is still free to some degree, although, of course, all of the information on the internet is being collected by the government and can be used against you, as we've seen, at any time.
And then also in here's transportation, so you got to figure they do kind of monitor flights. That's all under the federal government.
Oh,
Roads
flights
are built by the government.
Oh, truckers have occupational licenses. I mean, all types of yes, all that shit is run by the government. Wow. Absolutely, another one out of the fucking park.
They got their stinking hands in everything. All right, number 7: extensions of factories and instruments of production owned by the state. The bringing into cultivation of wastelands and the improvement of the soil generally in accordance with a common plan.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's tons of national lands. The federal government, the amount of land the federal government owns is out of control. In terms of, what was the other one? Bringing factories in, they said?
Extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state. I don't know what they mean by extension.
Yeah, that one might be a little bit tricky, but I mean, look, if you want to look at companies like Boeing or something like that, and these companies that are very tied to the military-industrial complex, no, you're right. I guess we do it in a more quasi-fascistic manner. Not a complete home run on that one, but still probably a triple.
This one, to me, it's just kind of the improvement of soil generally in accordance with a common plan. That one just hasn't aged that well. The soil, this was more for farmers.
Is that like Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one.
All right, number 8: equal obligation of all to work. Establishment of industrial armies, especially for agriculture.
Okay, well, obligation of all to work. Never really pans out in any type of meaningful sense. But look, I think you could say if you want to look at things like property taxes, like estate taxes, like back income taxes, if you want to look at settlements in terms of like marriage, divorce court settlements, you could certainly say that there's lots of cases where people are essentially forced to work to pay off government debt. I don't know if I'd call that one exactly a home run, though.
All right. Number 9: combination of agriculture with manufacturing industries. Gradual abolition of the distinction between town and country by more equable distribution of the population over the country.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give me that one again. I kind of
I don't know what the hell that was either. Combination of agriculture with manufacturing industries. Gradual abolition of the distinction between town and country by a more equitable distribution of the population over the country.
Okay, so absolutely we have had this. Okay, so now if you're saying the distinction between localities and nationalities, I mean, absolutely. We are a country that is the United States of America, and we don't even think about it that way anymore. It's all about the federal government. The federal government's taken more and more power, and less have gone to the states. Not only that, look, the reason why we had massive urban sprawl in this country is not unrelated to the fact that the federal government came in and built all these highways. I mean, yes, they absolutely, after World War II, designed it so that people spread out. Absolutely, we have that. That's a knockout of the park.
All right. Number 10: free education for all children in government schools. Abolition of children's factory labor in its present form. Combination of education with industrial production, etc., etc.
I mean, that's another home run.
Public schools.
So the elimination of child labor and education, free education for all children, of course we have that, right? So now, by the way, let me just try to make this clear. We are holding the current United States here up against the philosophical standards of the Communist Manifesto. Now, I started by making this a comparison to the Soviet Union, and I want to get back to that point. This is making a comparison to us to a communist country in philosophy. I mean, Rob, we are terrifyingly close. We are really not that far off from that. I mean, we have 8 out of the 10 planks down, and the other 2 aren't complete misses.